When dealing with damaged knob and tube wiring, specifically a cut conductor, it's essential to use appropriate and safe repair methods. There are indeed listed splicers designed for this purpose. One such example is the Ideal Industries 30.668 Persian wire connector. This connector is UL listed, meaning it has been tested and certified to meet specific safety standards for its intended use. It's designed for use with solid or stranded copper conductors, accommodating wire sizes ranging from #14 AWG to #10 AWG. The installation process is relatively straightforward. The connector is pushed onto the exposed wires. Spring-loaded contacts inside the connector create a secure electrical connection. These connectors are suitable for situations where you need to splice the wire ends, but it's crucial to ensure proper and complete insertion of the wire into the connector. Remember that the use of any splicer on knob and tube wiring should be performed by a qualified electrician. Knob and tube systems are old, and the insulation is likely degraded and can be quite dangerous. Improper handling could lead to electrical shock or fire hazards. Therefore, professional expertise is vital for these repairs. When working with older wiring systems such as knob and tube, several factors come into play. Firstly, the original insulation may be brittle and prone to crumbling. Secondly, the wiring might not have a grounding conductor, which is a standard safety feature in modern electrical systems. Thirdly, the splicing methods used in the past may not meet current safety codes. Repairing or extending a knob and tube circuit often involves adapting modern components and techniques to an older system. This necessitates careful evaluation and adherence to best practices to ensure safety and compliance. Always turn off the power to the circuit before beginning any electrical work. This will prevent accidental electrical shock. Verify that the circuit is de-energized using a reliable voltage tester. Visually inspect the knob and tube wiring for any signs of damage, such as cracked insulation, loose connections, or corrosion. If there are any issues, address them before proceeding with the repair. When using a Persian wire connector, ensure that the wire is fully inserted into the connector until it bottoms out. This will ensure a secure and reliable connection. Gently tug on the wire to verify that it is properly seated in the connector. If the wire pulls out easily, it is not properly connected and needs to be reinserted or the connector replaced. After making the connection, insulate the splice properly. Electrical tape is typically used for this purpose. Wrap the tape tightly and neatly around the splice, overlapping each layer to create a secure and moisture-resistant seal. In some cases, heat shrink tubing may be a better option for insulating the splice. Heat shrink tubing provides a more durable and water-resistant seal than electrical tape. Slide the tubing over the splice and heat it with a heat gun until it shrinks tightly around the connection. Consider the environment where the repair is being made. If the area is damp or humid, use moisture-resistant connectors and insulation. If the area is subject to high temperatures, use connectors and insulation that are rated for high-temperature applications. Document the repairs that you have made. This will help with future maintenance and troubleshooting. Keep a record of the date, location, and type of repair, as well as any materials used. If you are not comfortable working with electrical wiring, it is best to hire a qualified electrician. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself from electrical shock. A qualified electrician will have the knowledge, skills, and experience to perform the repair safely and properly. Furthermore, if the knob and tube wiring is severely damaged or outdated, it may be necessary to replace it entirely. This is a more expensive option, but it will provide a safer and more reliable electrical system. Consider consulting with an electrician to determine the best course of action for your specific situation. Modern electrical systems are designed with safety in mind. They include features such as grounding conductors, circuit breakers, and ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, which help to protect against electrical shock and fire hazards. Upgrading your knob and tube wiring to a modern electrical system will provide a safer and more reliable electrical supply for your home. When selecting a push-in wire connector, be sure to choose one that is UL listed and rated for the appropriate voltage and amperage. The connector should also be compatible with the type and size of wire that you are using. Read the manufacturer's instructions carefully before using the connector. Follow the instructions to ensure that the connection is made properly. Regularly inspect your knob and tube wiring for any signs of damage or deterioration. This will help to identify potential problems early on and prevent them from becoming more serious. Look for things such as cracked insulation, loose connections, and corrosion. If you find any problems, have them repaired by a qualified electrician as soon as possible. Be aware of the potential hazards of knob and tube wiring. It is an old and outdated system that does not meet modern safety standards. It is important to take extra precautions when working with knob and tube wiring to protect yourself from electrical shock and fire hazards. If you are not sure how to work safely with knob and tube wiring, it is best to hire a qualified electrician. Another point to consider is the amperage rating of the circuit. Knob and tube wiring is typically rated for 15 amps. If you are using the circuit to power high wattage appliances, such as space heaters or air conditioners, you may need to upgrade the wiring to a higher amperage rating. Overloading a circuit can cause the wiring to overheat and potentially start a fire. It is important to use the circuit only for its intended purpose and to avoid overloading it. Also, be aware of the location of the knob and tube wiring in your home. It is typically located in the walls and ceilings. Avoid drilling or cutting into the walls or ceilings without knowing the location of the wiring. If you accidentally damage the wiring, it can create a safety hazard. Consult with an electrician to determine the location of the wiring before doing any work. When working with electrical wiring, it is important to use the proper tools. This includes things such as wire strippers, pliers, and screwdrivers. Using the wrong tools can damage the wiring or cause an electrical shock. Be sure to use tools that are insulated and rated for electrical work. Also, consider the age of the knob and tube wiring. Over time, the insulation can become brittle and cracked. This can create a safety hazard and increase the risk of electrical shock. If the wiring is old and deteriorated, it may be necessary to replace it entirely. This is a more expensive option, but it will provide a safer and more reliable electrical system. Before making any repairs to knob and tube wiring, it is important to obtain the necessary permits from your local building department. This will ensure that the work is done in compliance with local codes and regulations. The building department may also require an inspection of the work to ensure that it is done safely and properly. Furthermore, be sure to properly dispose of any old or damaged wiring. Do not simply throw it in the trash. Electrical wiring contains hazardous materials that can contaminate the environment. Contact your local recycling center or waste management company for information on how to properly dispose of electrical wiring. Remember, knob and tube wiring is an outdated system that does not meet modern safety standards. While listed splicers can be used to repair damaged conductors, it is important to take extra precautions when working with this type of wiring. If you are not comfortable working with electrical wiring, it is best to hire a qualified electrician. An electrician can assess the condition of the wiring and make the necessary repairs or replacements to ensure that your home's electrical system is safe and reliable. Lastly, always prioritize safety when working with electricity. Electrical shock can be fatal. Be sure to turn off the power to the circuit before beginning any work and to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself from electrical shock. If you are not sure how to work safely with electricity, it is best to hire a qualified electrician.